Hello, I'm Rachel, and welcome to another PencilStash adult coloring video. Now today, I'm partnering with my good friends at Coloring Book Cafe. And if you aren't familiar with them, they're an online digital subscription service devoted to bringing you print-on-demand coloring pages and books, as well as lots of other adult coloring perks. And I've partnered with them many times over the years, both here on my PencilStash channel, as well as on their platform. In fact, you can see my face and my voice in tutorials, as well as a workshop series that we created together. And it showcases the many benefits and fundamentals of adult coloring. So check out the link below. The workshop, it's completely free and it features yours truly. Now, I'm a big fan of Coloring Book Cafe, and I really like what they're doing to not only provide great coloring resources, but also one of their core beliefs that you can see and feel through everything that they do is that adult coloring can be extremely beneficial for your mental health, something that I can definitely get behind. So check out the link below, watch the workshop, and see for yourself. Now today, we're going to be coloring this page from Coloring Book Cafe's new autumn coloring book. And you might be asking yourself, Rachel, why the heck is this so small? Well, I'll tell you. We're actually going to be using this page, we're going to be coloring it, and then we're going to actually use it to complement and build a scrapbook page. I'm not sure if you guys are into scrapbooking or paper crafting of any kind, but it can be really fun, and I'm always looking for ways to utilize my finished coloring pages instead of just kind of leaving them sitting lonely in their coloring books. So let's color it and see what we can do with it. Alright, so I thought what we could do with this is incorporate it into, I can't get it. Alright, reset. What I thought we could do with this is actually use it on a scrapbooking page. And the reason that I say that is because the nice thing about Coloring Book Cafe's stuff is that it is printable in all sorts of shapes and sizes. You can do different paper, you know, whatever you might like. You can even print like watercolor paper and then watercolor it. It's just really, really flexible. And I'm always struggling with the fact that like your coloring just sort of lives in your coloring books. It just kind of stays there. And it would be really fun to kind of do something with them. So you could make like a greeting card, you know, you can print it half side, you can, you know, fold it over. And I know that there's a lot of scrapbookers out there. And so I am not a scrapbooker per se. I definitely like all of the stickers and the paper and all that stuff. And I certainly have some of those things. It definitely speaks to me, but I normally do other things with it instead of just scrapbooking. But I looked up some scrapbooking like spreads and some like fun looking stuff. So I'm definitely going to give it a try. And I also had my husband take some pictures of me in front of this absolutely beautiful fall tree that we have in our neighborhood while we were walking the dog. And so I think this coupled with that photo would make a really cool kind of scrapbooking spread. So we are going to do that today. So I'm gonna put aside my paper and whatnot, and we'll save that fun stuff for later. And in the meantime, we're just going to color this and sort of see how it comes out. We'll kind of let it you know, be what it wants to be, but we are definitely going to take some nods from some of the colors in the scrapbooking paper book, just so that we are nice and cohesive. And we'll see kind of where it takes us. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this Crayola apricot color. I'm just going to put this kind of along the top a little bit, just to act as a spot to kind of reserve some highlights. And this will just be pure apricot, and I'm purposely kind of going in like up and down lines, because if you'll ever notice, pumpkins kind of have a little bit of a texture on them, and they definitely have like a bit of that like stringy kind of texture that goes in a very kind of up and down kind of vertical pattern on its skin. So we're just going to kind of play into that. And I'm just going to put this down, and it does feel really weird using blue on a pumpkin. Not gonna lie, but it really does give you that kind of interesting undertone. I like how it looks, and it just gives a little bit of that kind of unexpected. And I'm not being too careful with this just because, again, it's just kind of that undertone. so it doesn't have to be perfect, because we're going to be putting some orange right over top. Going to go right over top of our blue area with this. I just love the fact that this picture has kind of the internal slice of a pumpkin. You rarely see that in coloring pages. Now I want to add a little bit of green. Let's go olive green. And I'm just going to put this down kind of sparingly, but in a couple of places. Pumpkins always have some little green spots on them. Now we'll take our pumpkin orange, and we're going to go right over that. And we're just going to put this in, like down in these shaded areas and maybe along some of these like little crevices here. All right, let's blend it and we'll kind of see where we're at. And I'm going to start up here where it's lightest. And I'm going to blend in the same direction that I colored. So up and down. It also helps. I like when the highlight isn't straight. I prefer it when it's a little bit kind of wonky like that. All right. Now I'm just going to go back in with my brown and just kind of tweak. I forgot this little line here. And then there were some little circles on the surface of the pumpkin, so I think I just want to go in there and just kind of put those back in and just kind of use it as a opportunity to add some texture and a little bit of like surface kind of marring. I'm just going to go in and blend those out just a little bit. I might just add a little bit more orange over here. It's just kind of bugging me. There's just too much highlight. I thought it would blend out a little bit more than it did, but nope. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do this one as well as the outside of our slice of pumpkin. Then I think we'll tackle how to do the inside. That'll be fun. All right, the outside of my pumpkins are done. Now I have to do the inside, and I've never colored the inside of a pumpkin. So I went back to all of my kind of color charts, and I pulled out this Crayola color. It's called Orange Circuit. I don't even know if I've ever used this one. And it kind of reminded me of the inside of pumpkin, so let's see what she looks like on the paper. And I did want something a little bit brighter than the kind of skin of the pumpkin, since the flesh is usually pretty vibrant, right? Right? And we'll kind of tone it down a little bit as we go, but I'm liking it. She's giving me pumpkin vibes. But now I'm just going to layer in a little bit of regular orange. And I don't want to cover the whole thing. I'm just kind of going back, and since I did just a really rough kind of foundational layer of that lighter color, I'm just going to go back in and kind of fill in some of the areas that I maybe skimped on, maybe a little bit around the edges. It's a little on the yellowy side, and I think pumpkins are a bit more kind of pure orange, but I like it. I actually like that kind of yellowy tone. All right, pumpkins are done. All right, so let's move on to here, and I think that these are acorn squashes. And I went on Pinterest to see what the inside and the outside of an acorn squash kind of looks like, just to remind me. And the only thing that comes up is recipes. So the only thing is like, halved, inside view of the acorn squash, which is really, really funny. See? This is all I'm finding. It does look really good though. I think it's like green on the outside. Yeah. There we go. That looks really good. I might need to make that. I don't think we're going to draw in the cheesy lasagna, but that's a shame. Oh well. Okay. All right, she's coming along. I think I'm going to save the flowers till last. So I did kind of our background scene, and I'm going to do the dirt here. And I think I want to do just like a light layer of this brown, just kind of as our base layer. And then I'm going to be adding in some green and some darker brown just to kind of mud it up, because I think that this is kind of where the pumpkins and everything kind of grow, so it would be kind of messy. All right, now we'll add in a little bit of the green and a little bit of the brown, and I'm just kind of reusing some of the colors that we used before. I definitely want to just make this very varied so that when we end up blending it out, that we get a nice just kind of variation of all of these combinations, like the original antique brass color, the green, the brown, but at the same time I really also want to blend it out so that the combination of all of them also comes through. So it's almost like we have 4 or 5 colors rather than just 3. All right, then we'll just kind of add a couple little spots here and there as well. Just kind of muddy this up. I want it to look like mud. And right now I'm just not getting that mud feeling. All right, I'm happy with that. Now, I really think the next thing obviously is the flowers, and I have been putting them off to the end, I'm not gonna lie, just because I wanted to see how our color story was sort of progressing, and then we would evaluate maybe yellow. Maybe we kind of bring some of this like interior squash color up, and maybe just subtly. Like, we don't have to have these things be bright yellow. We can make it a little bit subtle. All right, and here we are. Here's kind of where we stand currently. And the last thing I'm going to do, I think, is just put that little ridge around some of these pumpkin seeds. You know how they're like flat white, but that little ridge kind of around there. I don't know if I'll be able to really do that. I definitely need a sharper tip, just to give a little bit of that illusion, just so that they're not flat white. All right, and our Coloring Book Cafe page is done. I definitely like working with this tiny little piece. It's just really fun to kind of color it and put some detail into something that's super small. So this was fun. Now let's see what we can do to incorporate it into our scrapbook page. All right, so next steps. I have a bunch of scrapbooking stickers and paper kind of crafting stuff, and I even have some like remnants that I wanted to maybe utilize. And then I have a giant book of a whole bunch of different papers, and I absolutely love all of these. And there's some oranges and maybe some greens or yellows or something that we can pull from here. So I have a bunch of stuff like that I just kind of wanted to pull out to see what I had. And then I knew that I wanted to do something with leaves. And so I looked on Google for just some shapes that I could cut out. So I found this image on just doing like a Google search. I literally searched die cut leaf shapes. And I found this one. And I'm just going to use these as a template. And I just went on Microsoft Word and I put the same image in twice. But this one I made a little bit bigger, and this one I made a little bit smaller so that I could have a few different sizes to work with. And then I also flipped this one. So like you see how these two are the, sort of inverse of each other. I also wanted to have options to where, they weren't just 6 of the same shape, but just smaller. They, might look a little bit different being the inverse. So now what I'm going to do, and I printed this on like cardstock, so it's a little bit thicker, but you don't have to do that. I just, since I'm using it as a template, I think it'll just kind of hold up a little bit better. So that's why I did that. And now what I think I'm going to do is just kind of take some of my scraps and then some of the pages that I want to use from here, and I'm going to cut out my shapes, just so that I have like a bunch of little things to work with, and then we'll just kind of piece them together. I'm just going to do a ton, and then we'll just kind of see what we have, and we'll kind of work on our composition next. And halfway through cutting this, I realize how difficult this is to cut this out. And not only do I have to cut this template out, but if I make them on the paper, I have to cut them out too. So I might try to simplify this a little bit with my scissors, and then I'll simplify it when I do it over here as well. So instead of having all of these little things, I might just have little spears here. Make it a little bit easier on myself, and I don't think it'll harm the design any. right, I have a bunch of shapes. I think these came out really, really cute. I like my color combos. I think I have just the right mix of like oranges and greens, and I did end up throwing a couple of reds in here just because my photo that I printed, there's some beautiful fall colors right now in Chicago, and we've been walking the dog a lot, and this one is actually one that we took very, very recently, and this tree is just so pretty. And in terms of like composition, this doesn't have a lot of reds in it, but I thought that this kind of did, so I just kind of wanted to throw that in there. So these are the two photos that I'm going to be working with, and, or I'm sorry, this is the photo I'm going to be working with, and then this is our coloring page. But these are kind of the two like main focuses for it, and then these are kind of the backup dancers. So the first thing that we have to do is have our backdrop. So what I wanted to do is I wanted a white backdrop, and of course I don't have any white. So I took one of the, what I consider a page that I probably won't end up using. This one is not my favorite. And I'm going to use the back. The back is white, so this is perfect. And now we just kind of have to play with composition. And I just kind of want to highlight both of these things. I want to try to kind of tuck in our leaves around here and make like a nice kind of aesthetically pleasing visual. I have a whole bunch of my letters and my little stickers and stuff, so we'll have to incorporate something fun to do with these. So I'm going to play around with this until I find some kind of composition that I am happy with. So let's see what we can do. All right, I kind of like this, and of course it will lay flat. And then I think I want to put some kind of phrase down here with either these gold kind of typewriter letters or maybe these kind of gray, green, woodsy kind of pattern. I'm not sure yet, but in order to have them stand out, I think I might need some kind of backer, so I might need to cut something out to where I just have like a little strip that the words can kind of sit in. So I think that's going to be my plan, and I need to glue these down. So what I'm going to do is actually take a photo of it so that I can recreate it and I can remember where everything goes, and then kind of revisit it as I put it back together. Yep, and of course it just keeps turning. Alright, so now everything is stuck down and nothing is popping up, but I did kind of have to make sure that, you know, all of the sides were nice and stuck down. Like anything that has like a sharp corner, like a flap that might come up, I just made sure I had glue there. And also I like to cover the corners just because that's usually just kind of like an area to kind of soften it. So you'll notice that almost all of the corners are kind of covered. I should have moved this one over just a little bit just to cover that right there, but it's all good. You know what? Maybe we add another one. Let's see here. Maybe, yeah, is that necessary? I don't know. We have some of these other ones we could use. Yeah, I like that one. Let's do that. So yeah, so I'm just kind of putting these, and I thought I had a glue stick, but man, I feel like I just bought some glue sticks and hell if I know where they are. But I have this kind of glue pen, which is actually kind of cool. so that there is an area that isn't covered so that you don't get glue all over your hands, which I appreciate. All right, I like that. Now, what I have to decide is what that kind of ribbon of like background is going to be. And the size is what I'm just kind of curious about. And what is the phrase that I should do? I should do something like autumn colors, or, you know, the leaves are falling. And you know what? Maybe I'll kind of do like a bigger piece, and then I'll do my words on the bigger piece. And then I'll cut it to size, because I don't want to cut it to side and then try to fit my words on, because we all know how that's going to end. So let's do that. Let's first decide what the color is going to be. And I'm kind of tempted to use like this kind of green blue just to kind of differentiate it from everything else going on. Maybe we'll use this lighter because it's a bit of like an ombre, so there's kind of a dark side and a light side. Maybe I'll do this lighter side, and I'll just make kind of a little mark on here because I do want to make sure that it's not like longer than that. A little bit of an overlap. And that should be good. And hopefully we can keep it to like 2 inches or so. So let's do that. Let's put this aside and let's work on just the words. All right, I sliced just a little bit off. And the other thing I think I want to do is just kind of round the corners just a little bit. All right, do I have anything else that I want to add to this? I know I have some like cute little stickers. I don't know if anything else will kind of go with this, but we're just going to look real fast. I have these cute little orange hearts. Maybe we add those. What do we think of this butterfly? This might be a little bit too much. Maybe we can just add this here and then that one here. It's all about like knowing when to stop because there is absolutely too much of a good thing. Not when it comes to like coffee or jelly beans, but definitely when it comes to stickers and embellishments, there is such a thing as too much. All right, I think we're done. This is very cute. I am very happy with it. It's definitely, I mean, it's a scrapbook page and it's so cute. If you're a scrapbooker and you want to maybe utilize some of your coloring pages into your work, you know, this is definitely a great way to do it. If you're not a scrapbooker, but maybe you like to make cards or paper craft in other ways, Coloring Book Cafe is such a great way to utilize your coloring and some paper crafting as kind of one thing. Just because of the flexibility, it just really, really works. So if you're interested in checking out the Coloring Book Cafe workshops, I will leave a link down in the description. I did the workshops. I really, really think they're good. I hope that you enjoy them. They're absolutely free to check out, and you know, you might get something out of it, and you might even like it so much that you sign up for Coloring Book Cafe's service. And thank you so much to Coloring Book Cafe for sponsoring and partnering with me on this video. If you like this video, please do me a giant favor, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, leave me a comment down below, and hit the bell if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!